I like to spend some time putting some words to things that we want to say, some of the questions that we want to be prepared for, and just anything else that what to expect kind of a thing.
There's just kind of an art of communication that says I'm gracious or says you're wrong. And I think we need to land on the I'm gracious.
Those of you that are non-affirming, we're going to commit to not saying that you just hate gay people.
How can we communicate to people that we understand you might not be here tomorrow, you might not be here in 6 months, but will you commit to the journey?
Or, oh, you affirm gay people, so why do you hate the Bible? Understanding that those two things won't get us anywhere.
So the way we respond has to also reflect that we're choosing the side of love.
We've done a lot of this work, much still to do, but I have to remember it's my personal responsibility to unlearn, and it's okay to unlearn.
We are taking gentleness and care as we walk through this, and there's going to be some personal responsibility required here.
Most, if not all, theologians that have walked through this, no matter where they land, affirming, non-affirming, would agree with this piece of it, that this is not a matter of your salvation.
It's not just permission, but just like you're going to be okay. Like you're not going to lose your salvation if you question.
And I guess in my mind, when I think of acceptance, I already am affirming, but maybe that's not with everybody.
But affirming for us would be that we could perform same-sex unions and that we could hire as staff, even pastors, LGBTQ plus.
And so one of the things I challenged the elders right away was, if you look at Scripture and you don't know what it says or why it says it or anything like that, and you're okay with condemning people to hell, that are friends and family, and I feel like just for yourself, you should really look into that to know, because that's a huge thing you're doing there.
People say, do you not believe in the authority of Scripture? Well, yes, but I don't believe in the authority of your interpretation. I mean, which of the 40,000 Protestant denominations am I going to pick? I just think dispositions of heart like humility and an openness to go back to the text with that measure of courage, dispositions of heart are more important than positions of theology.
What does Jesus, say about fruit producing things, and has our church tradition produced fruit?
Those internalized lessons around shame, around hell, are still there. They didn't go anywhere. The tape is still playing.
We've kicked people out, or we've shamed them, or we've called them abomination, or we've ex-gay ministries of trying to change people.
It's embarrassing, and I think that's true on issues of race, on issues of gender, on so many issues.
We have a whole bunch of people who are far more interested in protecting theologies than they are protecting people. And I never remember Jesus saying, love your idea as yourself, ever.
Has our tradition done very well with this? I would say no.
What I say when people say it's clear is, our history doesn't indicate that. Our history tells another story. Our history tells a story where we need to be more concerned about humility than we do certainty.
So what has our experience been? And I think all of us, we looked at our experience and it's like, man, our experience doesn't fit what we have been, framed. And so that's not my experience. And so my experience is causing me to question these things.
You might say ordinary secular people don't understand what the fuss is about because they don't have scripture and tradition to tell them there should be a fuss. They're able to just process that experience like regular human beings do. Here's a person and they're wired differently, and it hurts if they're treated with contempt, and so we shouldn't treat them with contempt. And they want to have relationships like we do, and they ought to be treated equally. That seems pretty logical, right? But that is a logic that is not the dominant logic if you're within the religious community, because we have all of this other stuff of scripture and tradition and how the churches have always done it and things like that.
And then you look at reason, and if it wasn't, and just think for a second, if we didn't have those 6 verses in the Bible, does reason get you to think it's abomination without those verses? If it wasn't for what my understanding was when I was a kid, I don't think I would ever think that.
The gospel is supposed to be good news. So if I read this text and I can't find any good news, if what I'm saying the text says is all bad news for somebody, I need to take a second look
to leave the 99 and go after the one, or to stand with the marginalized the way Jesus did, feels like a God thing, doesn't it? I decided that that's what I wanted. I couldn't live with myself any other way, actually. I could not live with myself any other way. If I was going to have to be in church that was not inclusive, I could not live with myself. I had to take a stand.
You know, I'm doing my best to give grace, and you guys do your best to give grace, because you know, I think we're all carrying this weight, you know, differently than others, and so we'll need that from each other, because we'll probably get some, you know, some outside rocks thrown, and so we just need to be able to just have each other's backs on those kind of things.